let's get back to the games. We're tapering off a little bit. We got a lot more to talk about. Pittsburgh at Houston.
Pittsburgh's going to win. Houston's anemic. I mean, I'm surprised they beat Jacksonville, to tell you the truth, and they struggle with Jacksonville. But Pittsburgh should win this game. But their concerns for down the line.
They'll probably struggle in this game early, but the Steelers. I mean, they're gonna. Yeah. Their hopes for the Super Bowl are over now. But they should still beat Houston and go to 2-0. And hey, who knows?
And they'll be always thinking about 3 yards away.
Yeah, maybe the Woodson thing isn't as bad as it. Who knows? Mm-hmm. He's going to try and get back, but
definitely.
I don't see it happening. Another dome game between two I feel uninteresting teams. Detroit at Minnesota. Will these teams ever go to the Super Bowl and win?
I don't know. I mean, you feel their frustration. If you're a Lion and Viking fan, God bless you. I mean, it's tough.
It hurts.
It's not like you have a bad team, but you only go so far. You only reach that certain level. You can't take it past that to the next level. It's frustrating. It's got to be frustrating. Mm-hmm. And think about Detroit. They got so many breaks week 1 against Pittsburgh. Woodson gets hurt. Deion Figures wasn't even in the game, and O'Donnell's out. Mm-hmm. And yet they just, if I'm a Lion fan, is Scott Mitchell the quarterback that's going to take us? I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah, Detroit. I mean, it's the NFC Central. I mean, that's. I don't want to say it's not competitive, but I mean, if they all go 8-8, I wouldn't be surprised.
They all play down each other. Just play down.
Exactly. They all cancel each other out. I mean, hey, they sent 3 teams to the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
Well, 4 teams actually. You count the Vikings who won the division, and then the Bears go in there and beat them.
Yeah.
Which aggravated me. Because then the Bears went to go play San Francisco.
Yeah, that was just a bye for the Niners.
Exactly. Green Bay would have given them a better game. I think Green Bay would have beat San Francisco if they would have went to play them, and then we would have had cakewalk against Minnesota. But no, Warren Moon, sad.
It is.
It's sad.
He's 38 years old.
39.
He's 39. I mean, age is definitely a question now, and
it's not a question. He's not. Warren Moon's not going to the Super Bowl ever. There's just guys that are not going to win.
I mean, he has
Warren Moon, John Elway, Dan Marino. These guys are not going to win.
But
Super
Marino's
Bowl.
got the best chance of them all this year.
You say that every year, Dan Marino, and we got all these guys, and they stacked up and all, but
that's another thing. You stack up, but you got to have the chemistry too, and that's something the Dolphins. I mean, it seems they have some chemistry, but as the season goes on, we'll find out.
They said that in '92. And then the Bills go in there and beat them in the AFC title game. '93, everybody got all excited about them. They beat the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. There's a Leon Lett. And then they didn't win the rest of the year.
Yeah, so
then last year, they get in, they beat the Chiefs, and then they lose to? I don't remember.
Chargers.
Yeah, they should have beat the Chargers, but I don't know. Dolphins, they're not going to. They're just not going to win.
Well, one good thing is they beat the Jets and they beat them convincingly.
That's true.
They always struggle with the Jets or the Bills, either one of those two.
That's
to me,
true.
they have to go 4-0 against the Jets and Bills to see this team's legitimate. We're going to the Super Bowl. They got to make a statement. It goes, we own the Jets. We own them.
Exactly. They have to make, and they haven't owned the Jets. I mean, when you can't sweep the Jets,
you got problems.
And the Dolphins have problems with that every year. They can't seem to beat the Jets twice. It's a big problem. Then you have no chance to go to the Super Bowl. Because if you can't beat the Jets, you can't beat anybody.
I know.
Because the Jets are horrible. Speaking of the Jets, we heard Crazy Jet Fan a little while ago talk about the Jets and the Colts. What a big game that is. Now, if you're like me and Manu, we're from downstate. If you're from the tri-state area, you feel my pain. Because, as you may or may not know, the tri-state area, in some cases, do not get double-header games on Sundays. What that means is, there's like a big game going on either CBS when they had it, or there's a big AFC game on, but the Jets and the Colts, you have to get that game if you live in the tri-state area, and that is just a tragedy. You miss out.
Oh, man.
And wasn't that the worst, man? Sundays in the fall, you had to go to school the next day.
And you had a test. And it was always cloudy.
And the Jets were playing the Colts at 4 p.m., and there was a big game you were missing. If you're from the New York area, you know what I'm talking about.
There's a total of 9 points in the game.
This is why I came to Binghamton, because Binghamton gets the doubleheader game. Upstate people get the doubleheader games.
They should put on that in the brochures to those upcoming freshmen who want to come here.
Seriously, though. Although, we get ripped off again this week, because the Jets and the Colts play at the same time the Broncos and Cowboys do. They play at 4 p.m.
That obviously would be a better game.
Oh, really? You think so?
I tell you that, when I was looking at this paper, I thought, Colts are going to walk away with this game. It won't be the same Jet-Colt game because the Colts are going to lift the game up.
Mm-hmm.
But after the Colts last week, we could have a 3-2 game or something. I wouldn't be surprised if we have 3-2. And up for grabs. I'll take the Colts.
3-2.
3-2. The only difference is this is in New York. But
yeah, well, it's a tragedy that I have to watch that instead of the boys. But hey, what are you going to do? I mean, it's week 2. I'm not going to be missing much. Here are a list of the other games that should be scheduled for our area on Fox, NBC, TNT, and ABC this week. All right, now moving on. We have a little AFC East theme going here. The Jets and the Colts. Our next game, we've got Carolina at Buffalo.
Oh, this is going to be interesting.
And why is it going to be interesting?
Frank Reich's return home.
There you go.
And so this will be interesting there. I mean, Carolina's not that bad of a team,
Mm-hmm. And they did play the Falcons last week. Let's not get excited.
I know.
Let's not get on the bandwagon yet. But they did look good.
They did look good. They got Metzler also, who's from the Bills, now in Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Carolina's not a bad team, and I like how they set up their team.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be fairly competitive this year, looking down the future.
I would have to say so.
I mean, Buffalo's I think, going to win this game, but it will be interesting for a while. I think.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you, Buffalo's defense is not that bad. The question is their offense, and their offense is not protecting Kelly. Who's Kelly's backup? I don't know who Kelly's backup is.
I don't know either. And if anybody at home knows who's backing up Jim Kelly, send us send us down to the station here, or give us a call at 6288, and tell us who Jim Kelly's backup is, because I really don't know, and I don't care either, because Carolina's gonna beat the Bills on Sunday. What do you think about that? The Bills were horrible against the Broncos last week. I didn't even get to see that game. Why don't we get TNT on this campus? I miss half Sunday night games every week, and Dallas is playing at Minnesota week 3. I got to go off campus to watch that. I should be able to watch TNT on campus. If telecommunications, if you agree with me, write to telecommunications and say, we need TNT. Freshmen, you're going to be here another 3 years. I'm out of here after this year. I'm looking out for you guys. Request TNT. It's embarrassing. I miss Sunday night games. Granted, Sunday night games are crappy a lot of times. But, it's no excuse for it. We should have TNT on this campus.
Especially if you're a fan of a Central team, like AFC Central team or something, because they're always on TNT.
They're always on TNT.
So, hey, if you're a Bengal fan, step up and say, I want to see the Bengals.
Yeah, there's always that Bengal-Falcon game, or, the Cardinals and Steelers. They get some wacky Sunday night games. I'm surprised, actually, the Cowboys are on Sunday night this year, because they're usually not.
Yeah.
Because the Cowboys, the big markets, the big games, Fox, who owns the rights to the NFC, they want those games. And, of course, Monday Night Football, they're on 3 times this year. Dallas, Sunday night is usually reserved for, like Tampa Bay and, the Colts and the Patriots in earlier years, just to get them some exposure, so they didn't feel left out. But I'm actually surprised the Cowboys will be on this year. But, hey, I have to go off campus on week 3. What am I going to do? Speaking of Tampa Bay, they got an interesting game coming up at Cleveland.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting.
Next week.
Vinny against his old teammates there.
Vinny,
I like Tampa.
Here's the thing with Tampa, and here's what I feel about Tampa. They're young. They're mediocre. They played well against the Eagles last week.
At Philly, too. That's not easy.
And speaking of the Eagles, did you hear what Ricky Waters had to say?
Speaking of idiots.
Did you watch Ricky Waters, what he said after the press conference? Take a look at this.
Tough out there, but a lot of the problems that we had out there actually had to do with them. They were yelling when we had the ball, and so we couldn't hear the play calls and stuff.
Tampa Bay, they were yelling during our plays, so we couldn't play good.
The sad thing is this guy's got a ring.
And undeserved, by the way. Yeah. He's an Emmitt Smith wannabe. He's not that good. And, he was decent for the 49ers, but they have no running game now. Yeah. He's not all that. He's going down with Philly, and, Randall, he's overrated anyway.
I think about Ricky Ward is, people say he was a steal of free agency. Oh, that's such a bunch of crap.
I know.
Ricky Ward is so overrated.
Overrated. And Randall Cunningham's overrated too. People say, oh, he's a good scrambling quarterback. He makes things happen. Yeah, he makes things happen. But you know what? This guy could not take the team. They couldn't win in the playoffs. In the late 80s and into the early 90s, the Eagles were stacked. They had Keith Byers, they had Calvin Williams, Fred Barnett. They still got a couple of those guys. I think they still have Williams.
They got Barnett too still.
Right. I mean, they had that Reggie White, that nasty defense, Simmons, and all of them, and they could not win in the playoffs. Why? Because of Randall Cunningham. That's why.
He's one of those guys who we always labeled as a great athlete, but in terms of bringing a great football player and a great quarterback, there's always going to be doubts about that.
They couldn't win, and another reason.
Maybe a change of settings made the best thing.
Who coached the Eagles then? I wonder.
Man.
Buddy Ryan, another big loser who's never going to get a ring on his own. Had to scap Mike Ditka in the '85 Bears. Get out of here. I like Randall. I mean, don't get me wrong.
I like Randall. Remember the 91-yard punt against the Giants?
That's right. It's tough times for the Giants. That Ray Handley era. That wasn't the Ray Handley era, though.
That was the Parcells.
That was 90 or 80. No, it was 89 that happened.
Parcells was there.
Yeah.
And that.
Yeah.
Ray Handley era. That's another thing. Everybody know where Ray Handley is.
If you get a Ray Handley sighting, let us know.
Is he practicing law? Because I know he's a lawyer.
Yeah.
And
also, just to get back to the Cowboys and Giants, the Giants did score the other night.
They did?
They did. Phil Simms threw a touchdown pass to Lawrence Taylor
LT
during
still got
the
moves
halftime ceremony. So the Giants did get on the board. I should correct myself. The Giants were not shut out Monday night. Simms to Taylor one last time.
It's weird. I hated Simms as a player, but now you see him as a broadcaster and you get a different view of him.
And you still hate him because if you're a Cowboy fan, you hate Phil Simms because the guy, he's obnoxious. But I'm obnoxious.
And those celebrations after touchdowns.
But he celebrates after he gets a first down at midfield in the third quarter. He's like pumping the fist. I don't know. I don't think he should go to the Hall of Fame. I don't know.
I mean, there are guys I put ahead of him definitely on the Hall of Fame list. I mean, he eventually down the line might.
Exactly. But getting back to Tampa Bay, which we were talking about here in this game with Cleveland, here's what the Buccaneers need to do. The Buccaneers, they got to load of draft picks in the next few years.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
They get Jimmy Johnson because he's out there, and he'll coach in Florida.
Oh, definitely.
They get Jimmy Johnson. He will manipulate that draft, and Tampa Bay will be in the first Super Bowl of the 21st century in the year 2000. If they get Sam Wyche, he's a loser.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to have a remarkable year.
You want Sam Wyche, go get that Total Access video. That's Sam Wyche highlights. They get Jimmy Johnson, the Buccaneers. They will be the team that unseats Dallas in the NFC. I'm looking at because Jimmy wants to pay back the Cowboys, and he would love to get Jerry Jones, and he's going to have to do it in the NFC. Yeah. Maybe the NFC East, people had him at Philly. Maybe
I just don't see him in Philly.
He goes to Tampa Bay. That team's going to the Super Bowl, and soon. And that's the way it's going to be.
Yeah. Is Dilfer going to be the quarterback, though?
I don't know. It'll be interesting. He had a nice pass to Horace Copeland for a touchdown last week. I don't know. Maybe the Eagles aren't that good. Maybe the Buccaneers played well. I don't know.
This week's going to be interesting. Was it a fluke last week? It's at Cleveland. Cleveland came off a big loss, too, so they're going to be hungry, too. And what if Cleveland starts 0-2? They lost a tough one in New England, and then you lose to Tampa? I mean, you have some doubts in your mind.
It really won't impress me, but Cleveland should go to the Super Bowl, and if they don't, well, hey, I'm wrong. What can I say? But the Cowboys are going, so don't even watch the NFC.
Chris Mortensen said that there's 10 teams who think they can go to the Super Bowl from the AFC. The AFC is so wide open.
I know.
And so, I mean, even the Browns, who knows what happens with them, And an injury here and there, who knows what happens.
Who cares, though?